Everybody, we are in all things algebra, the geometry version. This is 3-7, equations of lines, point slope form. Well, you've already seen part 1. In part 1, I did problems 1 through 6, and I'm about to go to part 2. So the next page, we're going to start with number 7, which is exactly what we were just doing. We are going to use these two ordered pairs to find the slope. There's your slope formula. We're going to use the point slope to put it in y equals mx plus b. So lots of formulas. This is most definitely an Algebra 1 lesson more than it is geometry so far. That's okay. Y'all need to know as a student that this tends to piggyback off of each other. And if you're a brand new geometry student, brand new geometry teacher, you are going to need to hammer home that once you learn something in geometry, it is definitely never going to go away. Pythagorean theorem alone will prove that. You're going to pretty much find the Pythagorean theorem in every darn lesson as you go. Okay, so this is one of those things that's not going to go away. You're going to see this in Algebra 1, geometry, and also Algebra 2. And you know, some pre-calculus and calculus stuff if you go that far. All right, here we go. So this is my first order pair, x1, y1, second order pair, x2, y2. Okay, we've already done problems 5 and 6. So teachers, this is where you should start kind of pulling back, allowing the students to try this on their own. A lot of times what I'll do is I will let the students kind of take control. I'll work the problem very, very slowly, not really talking my way through, just kind of letting them take the lead, kind of pulling back some. And I'll say, okay, look, at this point, I've got my slope. Check in, see if you've got what I've got. And I'll take a pause. And I was like, okay, well, who does not have what I have? Do you have any questions? Do you see where you went wrong? Do you see what the issue is? Do I need to come look and see if you typed something wrong in the calculator? All right, and then, okay, I'll say, look, I'm going to start doing the next step, the point slope. Do you? And check in with me. And so then I'll start doing my next step, kind of pulling away. Hang on a second. All right. And, just kind of let them do their thing. They've got to get their confidence level up. And then I'll say, okay, look, I've got the point slope equation kind of laid out. Check in with me. Make sure you've got what you have correct. And I'll say, okay, look, I'm going to continue on. I'm about to do my distributive property. And so I'll give them a minute to kind of work on that. If you're looking for a cheat, y'all, you're a student. 2 divided by 2 is a 1. So it really is just a positive 5. All right. And then, sorry, I just wanted to kind of point that out. And then I'll just kind of move on and keep on going. And so I finally get my answer. I'll say, look, okay, you guys, check in with me. Make sure you've got what I've got. Get their confidence level up. And then I'll walk around. Okay, look. Okay, what happened here? Is this where did you make a silly mistake? This is where you messed up. And a lot of times it really is just a silly mistake. Number 8, this is the 4th problem. I would say, look, do it on your own. I would have my answer on a sticky note. I've even been known to give out, starbursts. Hey, you did a good job. What color do you want? That kind of thing. Give the students a chance to stay involved and, get their confidence level up. So I'm going to go slow. You're my student. Try it out on your own. Pause this video if you need to. Check in with me. Just don't copy blindly. Copying blindly is not going to teach you anything. Try it out on your own. I'm going to work it slowly. I'm not going to say a word. All right, there you go. Check in with me, you guys. You got to get your confidence level up. Now, listen, I'm talking to brand new geometry teachers too, okay? Don't think my first year that I just went into the classroom and said, let's do this. Now, on year 29, I can do that. But I spent a lot of time at home doing this, making sure that when I was teaching the lesson the next day, I was the smartest person in the room. You will gain respect very quickly that way. You're also going to lose respect as a brand new teacher if a student who is smart asks you a question and you don't know the answer. They're going to then lose the respect for you. They're going to get that, mentality of, well, my teacher don't even know. Why should I care? That kind of thing. Or my teacher don't even know. And how am I going to learn from this person? Do the time at home before you step foot into that classroom. That's why I like doing these videos. Y'all have been doing this a long time. So I can now walk into a classroom and know how to work the problems. But I do tweak, how I approach and do things. All right. Number 9, write the equation of the line is parallel. Ooh, okay. All right. Parallel lines have the same slope. Because this is y equals mx plus b, that right there, the number in front of x is my slope. That is my 2. So I don't need to do the problem like 7 and 8 to find the slope. I have it. There's my m. x1, y1. So at this point, you can kind of back away and say, look, now you've got the 3 things that you need. Do it. Because after 4 examples of one way and 4 examples of this way, where you have 2 order pairs, they should honestly start picking up on it very quickly. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. There's our slope. It's the number in front of x when it's y equals mx plus b. So y minus your y1, m, and in parentheses, x minus your x1. Watch those signs. Distribute 2 times x and 2 times 4. And then subtract 1 to the other side. Here we go. Okay, pause this video as you go, students. Gain your confidence. Number 10. Oh, not in y equals mx plus b. Well, on them. All right, so the first thing I got to do is to put it in y equals mx plus b. I got to get the y by itself. So I'm going to subtract x to the other side of the equal sign. Now, I do not combine a negative x and a positive 9 because they are not like terms. I can only combine an x with another thing that has an x. Again, I can only combine a 9 to another number that does not have a letter. So not like terms. Divide by the negative 3 on everything. So y equals 1/3 x. And if you're sitting there going, whoa, how'd you do that? A negative understood 1 divided by a negative 3 is a positive 1/3. And then 9 divided by 3 is 3. Well, again, they want parallel, which means I'm looking at the number in front of x. There's my m. Parallel lines have the same slope. Therefore, my slope is a 1/3. Just writing down the formula for point slope. At this point, smart kids already got it. Smart kids running away. You're sitting there talking, and they're probably finishing up the problem. So that's a good thing. In fact, smart kids probably over there going, like tapping their feet, waiting for you to get done, and you're still talking your way through it. All right, distributed property. 1/3 times x. 1/3 times a negative 3. Well, any number times the reciprocal is a 1. Positive times the negative is a negative. Subtract 1 to the other side, and here we go. final answer. Okay, number 11, write the equation in the line is parallel. All right, same darn thing as number 10. It is not in y equals mx plus b. So your first goal is to get it into y equals mx plus b. I need that y by itself. So we're going to subtract 6x to the other side of the equal sign. The negative 6x and the negative 10 are not like terms. The negative 6 has an x. The negative 10 does not like terms. Divide by the 5. Now they want parallel, which means they want the number in front of x. That is my slope, a negative 6/5. So not a very pretty slope. But that is my m, regardless of it being pretty or not. Over to the formula. Okay, I'm going to use my negative 10 as my x1. I'm going to use my 9 as my y1. My ugly slope of negative 6/5 goes in for my m. Okay, so I've got y minus 9. I need to distribute. Negative 6/5 times x is negative 6/5 x. Now, again, if you are wanting a kind of a little shortcut, 10 divided by 5 is 2. Negative 6 times 2 is a negative 12. Now, I show all of my students shortcuts. I'm a firm believer in shortcuts. Not everybody is, so kind of keep that in mind. But there's your final answer. Y equals negative 6/5 x minus 3. Okay, number 12. And probably going to be the last one in this video. This is going to be part 2 because I still got more problems on that third page. All right, write the equation on the line that is perpendicular. Okay, so yes, it is in y equals mx plus b. But perpendiculars, you have to change the sign and flip that sucker over. Remember, parallel lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Opposite means that they have different signs. One of them will be positive, the other one will be negative. And reciprocal is when you take the number, the fraction, and flip it upside down. So the slope of ours is going to be a negative 4/3. We still have our x1 and y1. So again, 3 numbers I'm going to plug in for are the y1, the m, and the x1. So let's see, I've got y minus the negative 3. My new slope is not 3/4, perpendicular, negative 4/3. And then x minus, your x1 is the 3. Distribute. Watch that sign, that's going to be a plus. Negative 4/3 times x. And then negative 4/3 times a negative 3. And if you're wondering how I did that fast, 3 divided by 3 is a 1. Negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4. So if you're a student, who likes a shortcut, check in with your teacher first. But if you're, one of my students, we don't use this. We don't use all things algebra, but if you're one of my students, I'm going to say, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So there we are. We did 7 through 12. This was part 2 of the lesson. And stay tuned for part 3. I'm going to flip the page and continue on.